2023 is wrapping up, just about the end of the year, just about to jump right into 2024. And before we do so, I want to give you the 10 best movies that have come out in 2023. Before I get this list going, there's one honorable mention I would like to shout out. And the reason that it's not on the list is because it was not released in 2023, but this year was the first time that I saw it, and that is An Elephant Sitting Still. It's over 4 hours. It's on Fandor if you have that streaming service, but it's an incredible movie. Peak slow cinema. It really, I was blown away watching it because it's just like, it's this quiet, long takes, and just the music and getting into the head of these four characters. It was just a really incredible experience. So I at least want to shout that out here before I move forward. Number 10, The Creator. So when I first saw The Creator, I did a review here and I really enjoyed it. I really appreciated what it was going for. I love a unique, well, I'm not going to fully say original, but I love a good sci-fi story. And I love the ambition when a filmmaker does something like that and they release it and it's not attached to some greater IP or something like that. So I really appreciated what The Creator was going for. I love how it was filmed on such a small budget in comparison to other blockbusters. And one example I want to give about it that really goes into how great this was if you're watching some of the outside scenes, you could almost see the bugs, you could feel the sweat, the environment they constructed around the CGI and everything. I thought was masterful, and it really is an example of what to do as a filmmaker in the sci-fi and or fantasy universe. Number 9, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. I love this movie. I had so much fun with it. The biggest thing that I appreciate about it was how it had this message about wanting to fit in and just kind of how we overcome that. And I like how that mentality spilled over into some of the arcs of some of the villains that we had in the movie too. Not to get into spoilers, but overall it was a really fun time. We had actual teenagers voicing the turtles. That's a first as far as I know. And oh man, it was a very fun movie. Cannot wait for the next one to come out. Number 8, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. I imagine that this is a movie that would had been a lot higher on this list if it wasn't just the first part of a two-part, series of films. It kind of has that, and that's something that you'll see later in this list with another movie. It just, it wraps itself up nicely, but not nice enough because that it's just the predecessor to something else coming soon. We had some excellent sequences. This movie keeps one-upping itself in terms of the stunts that they do, the practical effects when it comes to the action. Overall, it was a really fun time. I saw it on the biggest screen possible I could find, and I was not disappointed by it. Number 7, Aftersun. Now, Aftersun is one of those movies. It's very quiet, it's very subtle, and I really appreciated that minimalist take that the director did with it, especially because I heard that it had been something that connected to her life personally. And you could see that, you could feel how personal this movie is, but the thing that really got me was its portrayal of the depression in the father. That's something I can't really articulate how it reacted so well with me, but I walked away from it and I was just like, God damn, that hit on a personal level. And it was nothing bombastic, it was nothing straightforward, it was just this subtle thing. This subtle hit, and it just like, it set me off. It was incredible. I can't wait to see more from the director. Number 6, Past Lives. If you ask me what my top 10 movies are of all time, somewhere in there you're going to find the Before trilogy by Richard Linklater. I love how those movies are carried by the dialogue and this connection between two people and just how that transgresses through the 3 films. So it's not much of a surprise that Past Lives hit really well with me. I loved how it didn't have that typical wrapping up as you would expect from a movie like this, because it's not a rom-com or something like that. It falls more in line with the Before trilogy. And I really appreciated that about this movie. It was another one of those quiet masterpieces that I saw this year. Number 5, The Boy and the Heron. So Hayao Miyazaki is incredible. Nausicaa, Princess Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away, Grave of the Fireflies. All those movies are incredible, and um, really, I think those were the ones that kicked off my interest in foreign film in general because I had seen the Japanese dub of them. Before I saw the English dub, and that's why I made sure when I saw this movie, I saw the Japanese dub as well with English subtitles. And I didn't expect this to be such an existential gut punch as it was, which automatically gives it a win in my book. But another thing I want to point out is the parallels to one of my favorite paintings of all time, called The Isle of the Dead by Arnold Backlund. You could see it when it comes to more of the spirit realm related stuff, but with the way that he or his team constructed the trees in that realm, so to speak. And I could see some parallels with what the narrative was going for and kind of what I've read about the painting in question. So I thought it was awesome. And you get existential, you get a dub from me. Number 4, Across the Spiderverse. Goes without saying, in terms of animation, top notch. In terms of the music, the soundtrack, top notch. And the way that they put these set pieces together. I mean, I know animation, you could literally do anything. You could just you could create your options are a hell of a lot more open than if you were doing something live action. But what they do with it, how creative this gets, it just really um captured lightning in a bottle twice. I mean, I cannot wait for the next one. This one kind of got that whole Dead Reckoning thing with the way that it wraps up. Didn't really consider it much of a negative. Going into it, I knew that it was coming before something that's going to have much more finality once it releases. So, um, wasn't too damaging to the experience because it was expected. But obviously, we got to wait to see Beyond the Spider-Verse to see how it all wraps up. Number 3, John Wick 4. In a universe where we got the Raid Redemption, the Raid 2, and we are probably not getting the Raid 3, I am so thankful that the John Wick franchise came out. Because no other action movies, except maybe Extraction 1 and 2, were kind of close, but they're not touching what John Wick is doing and what the Raid movies did. Just the way that they the choreography, the way that the stunts are, the creativity, but behind all these set pieces, I love it. I can watch a 5-hour cut of any of these movies and I would not get bored. It's one of those movies that you got to watch it in 4K just to really appreciate how clear cut the choreography and the cinematography is for these fight scenes. Just really excellent stuff. I want them to do a 5th one, and a 6th, and a 7th, and an 8th. The TV show, unfortunately, was not great. They could focus on not doing any more of that. Giving us a couple movies, at least a couple more. Number 2, Oppenheimer. So when I found out that Christopher Nolan was doing a biopic about Robert Oppenheimer, I was like, okay. I mean, I'll see what he does with it. I'm a big Nolan fan. He's probably in my top 3 best filmmakers of all time. Let him cook, kind of see what he's doing. I like Dunkirk. I like Tenet. I like basically the whole man's filmography, right? So when I heard about this, I was like, okay, I'm sure it'll be good. It'll be good, like a biopic you watch in school, kind of good, right? But when I saw this, I didn't expect it to kind of also get existential. You'll notice that's the theme a little bit here with some of these movies, is the existentialism behind them, and just how we got into the mind of Oppenheimer. I thought was really effective. I gotta say, the best ending to any Christopher Nolan movie, and by ending I mean that last scene, that last collection of shots before roll credits, hands down his best. And at number 1, if you know me, this will come at no surprise to you, is Godzilla Minus One. Now, I'm a big fan of creature features, monster flicks, all that jazz. Big Godzilla fan growing up. Did not expect this to be as goddamn incredible as it was. Now, I saw this in three theaters, right? I saw it Classic Cinemas in their XQ screening, which unfortunately the sound was not handled that well, and it was crackling in the big set pieces of this movie. Then I saw it in 4D or 4DX and that was cool. But the movement of the seats honestly is more distraction. It's more of a distraction than it is immersive. So it was just okay. Then I saw it at the in the EMAX theater, the Super EMAX at Imagine Cinemas, and it's the biggest screen that I've seen a movie on. I think it's like 96 by 60 feet or something like that. And goddamn, it was incredible. If there's one movie to see in the biggest screen possible, it's this one. The soundtrack was incredible. The performances, the characterization of all the human characters was something that we don't see in monster flicks like this, except for the host. That's a great movie. Everything about this, it just like every time I saw it, I still got goosebumps in the parts that give you goosebumps. I still was like at the edge of my seat, even though I knew exactly how the scene was going to play out. This movie is definitely a dub for the year, and it's probably going to be in my top of all time. I mean, that should go without saying at the top of this list. But Godzilla Minus One, I really want to do a review about that one, and I want to do a little bit of a deep diving into some of the other Godzilla movies as well. Godzilla Minus One, best of 2023, hands down.